Hello and welcome. Today I have an idea for doing a painting. It's going to have a different coloured sky to the normal blue because we don't always have to stick with the blue sky. It's going to be a landscape and it's more of a mauvey coloured sky, which can look absolutely amazing with a bright green sort of horizon, lots of fields, and we'll just see how this goes. Some flowers in the foreground, maybe a little bit marshy, somewhere possibly near the sea. We'll see. These are all different ideas that I've got in my mind. So it should be a quick little painting and we'll get started straight away. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm using a piece of acrylic paper in a sketch pad, and it's acrylic. It's a good strong acrylic paper, and all you need for this painting is a good selection of brushes, some wide ones, some narrow ones, and especially if you can get the rigger brushes or just a brush with a narrow top, they are very, very useful. A fine top on them. So yeah, lots of white paint, and we'll get going on this straight away. It's also very useful to have a hairdryer handy in case the painting gets too wet. So yes, I said I would start with a kind of a mauve-ish sky, and I think I will just do that. I will just literally put out purple on my palette. Down here, squeeze out a little bit of purple and some white paint over here, and I'll use my big brush to mix them together. So you might think it's an unusual colour for a sky, but I think when it goes with the colours I'm going to put in the landscape underneath it, it will work. And at the close of the day, the sky, in the late evening, skies can turn all sorts of different colours. You can get a little bit of pink in the sky, that mixed with the blue gives you a different colour, but it's just lovely to experiment with different ways of doing things anyway. And you know, if you don't like it as you go on, if you don't like the mauvey coloured, purple coloured sky, you can just add a bit of blue into it and it takes it back to a more traditional type of landscape. So we just leave it more or less like that for the moment. And I'm going to actually put some of that in the foreground because I will carry that colour down to the foreground as well, with some flowers or something there. So I'm using another colour, a thinner brush now to bring in. I'm going to make this horizon quite yellow. And I have done another painting there not so long ago with a very dramatic yellow background, which I really enjoyed, just experimenting with the different colours in the landscape. So it's kind of something, the same idea today, but not with that dramatic sky. So just adding in these kind of green fields. Maybe we could make it slightly hilly in the background, you know, more like sand dunes or something like that in the distance. I think I like that colour. So I'm going to add more into my palette to bring up this. I use a lot of yellow paint, so it's nearly run out, but I do have other yellows. So yeah, I'm going to just grade it, bring it down. This colour, oh, and after this has popped off. So yeah, to graduate it down, it's getting darker as I come down through the painting. Colour getting more green. Where I overlapped the purple and the yellowy green, it's given me a colour that does look like sand dunes. It's quite a sandy brown colour, which was just accidental, but it works out very nicely. See, this to me does look like something that is by the seaside. And again, I'm using this brush, kind of it's not the small thin brush that I often use, just a slightly bigger brush, just to give me this idea of grasses. And I've graduated, it's getting darker as the gradient is getting darker as I go down the canvas or go down the paper. The tone. Now, I'm going to go back to the purple, because that sky just to me seems to be very, all the one colour is just not, it needs to be slightly lighter on the horizon. It always is lighter, the sky on the horizon. And then it can get darker as you go up along. So on that skyline, it is always, the sky is always brighter on the skyline. And you can just kind of, sometimes in the summer, you just see wisps of clouds, you know, they're not full on, they're not full blown, but they're very light, kind of see-through clouds that are floating there lower down. So we kind of keep it simple enough like that. And I will darken, and we'll put some of the darker purple in as well. want to go too dark though. I don't want to, I think that's too dark, so I'll get some of this off my brush down here because I want to put some, there could be irises growing in these marshlands, purple flowers by the coast. So we're going back up to the sky now and just taking out that dark purple. It was just too dark. And that might do it. And maybe I'll add some of this deeper colour here as well. In actual fact, I'd prefer if that deeper colour was more of a pink. I'm going to go back in with some yellow. So I'm just adding this kind of, maybe a hedge or something, just to break up this painting in the distance. darkening this corner down here, because I feel it needs just a little bit of drama. Perhaps that should come up a bit. I'm just adding some interest down here with these flowers. There could be in other parts as well, like up here. So I'm going back and forwards here, just adding colour, taking away colour, until it works in my mind. I like the idea that there's a lot of kind of greeny yellow grass blowing in the wind here. And I'm just bringing that out really as I go on. I was going to make the foreground of this painting very dark, but it didn't work. So when I put all that kind of dark blue at the bottom, I didn't like it, so I'm going the other way now. Sometimes I do that, I either lighten it or darken it at the bottom. Sometimes I have to lighten it and it just makes the painting look an awful lot better. It kind of gives you room to breathe or something, rather than having just a heavy dark corners in the painting. Just lighten them up. And you know, sometimes, yeah, the lighter grasses are the ones that are closer to you. Depends, I suppose, on where the sun is, where the light is falling. But I like this, I like these colours. Oh, that was too much. Did not mean that to happen. So I've got an old piece of kitchen paper here that I'm using, but so I'm getting a lighter patch there that I wasn't intending to get, but it might work. I'm just continuing to build this up, build these marks up. And I'm going to add some stems in here. I just feel it warrants some tiny bit of detail. So I'm using this thin brush to give me some slim stems and details of grasses. But maybe not too many. Maybe less is more when it comes to this painting. But yet I want to get in some kind of subject matter that'll give interest to the painting, draw your eye in. So we're drawing the eye in up here and perhaps around here. And over there. And that's taking you up then to the horizon, up to the sand dunes. So I'm just having a look at it to see what I think of it. I feel these sand dunes in the background could be a little bit different or a bit more interesting. So I'm going to attempt to bring them up a bit. And I like this idea better of a slope. I feel I want to put something here as well to break it up a little bit. Some sort of a tree or something that's going up from here. Kind of gives it a bit more interest. Maybe another one there coming up from that. That could be a hedge. And as I usually say, that I will come back and add in more detail. I often have to stand back and look at these for a while before I know exactly what to do to finish them. I think it's the same with everybody. You'll come back again after you've had a cup of tea, or come back the following day and go, oh, I see now what it needs. And you just can't see it when you're working on it. You need that little bit of extra time to come back and put the finishing touches onto it. So, but I think it's close. And I'm looking at it in the monitor as well of the video that I'm filming, and that is helping me to see kind of patches that need a little bit more work. I like the colour of the sky. I like these purple flowers in the foreground. Maybe some little white highlights here and there would be nice. Kind of just like more little, the idea more of seeds and blossoms and blowing around in the wind there. And I kind of blot them out with my fingers so that they won't be so strong. Even up there. And it's just good. I find it handy to use my finger for blotting because it just softens what I'm doing with the paintbrush. Sometimes people, artists, they just start flicking paint onto, you know, like something like this, flicking paint like this on. To get the idea of blossoms. The only thing is if you do that, it goes up into other areas where you don't want it to go. But we're nearly there. Yeah, I think I can see actually doing the grass and the field is a good idea, because that field you could still see the grass. It's not that far away. So if there was tall grasses, they would be very visible there. So it's worth putting those in. Whereas up here, maybe not so much. Maybe the odd tuft of grass up there. So yeah, nearly done. Some more purple. Get some down here as well, down at the very bottom. Just bits of it everywhere. Purple is a great colour actually, even though I was using it there for the flowers, but it's great in trees and hedges. It's great for shadows. So that can be used in other parts of the painting as well. There's my painting. And we can just come in a little bit and just see some of the details there of those flowers and the grasses. And I hope you enjoyed this today. If you do, please subscribe and share. It's always great to get it out further. And hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you again next week. In the meantime, God bless and enjoy your painting, and I hope you come up with something really nice this week. If you do send it on. Send me a photograph of it. I'd love to see it. So thank you and God bless. Bye-bye.